Well, Fluff Bothwell isn't getting nearly enough credit, but we've got some eye-popping numbers that prove just how underrated he really is.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. My name is Jaron Spor. I'm a national college football writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon McBride. We've got a fun show for you today. Mississippi State canceled a series, and it's all due to the 9-game conference schedule that will start next season. What game did they cancel? And we'll talk about it a little more in depth and see if what route they're going to end up going for those other 3 games. Also, we're going to recap our weekend national games like we do every single week. 3 straight upset picks for me. Didn't go good for you?
Streak's over.
I can't remember who you picked in this one, but I got my 3rd straight one. I've got a good strategy going. I need to figure out what team was really good preseason, struggled, and no one's on right now. Maybe it's Penn State after firing James Franklin. Maybe that's the one I go.
Nobody believes in this game.
Yeah, I need to find my next one because I was right with Illinois and Texas. I got to find my 3rd. But we got to talk about Fluff Bothwell because some eye-popping numbers came out over the weekend. Fluff Bothwell he came into the weekend 2nd in the nation or in the SEC in rushing with 465 yards, 6 touchdowns on 5.5 yards per carry. He was graded as the 2nd best running back in the Power 4, only behind Jonah Coleman from Washington, who has an 88.9 grade. Fluff is next with 87. Which was actually higher. I don't even see. Yeah, Missouri's Ahmad Hardy isn't even listed in this ranking. But that takes everything into account. And Hardy isn't usually a pass catcher for them. And then takes, obviously, pass blocking and all that into account, too. He's also, in terms of top offensive success rates on carries, he's number 1 in the whole country, not just Power 4. The whole country at 63.9%. So talk about a great season he's putting together. And we're talking about how great he is. Not a lot of other people have talked about it.
Yeah, he has had a phenomenal year, and you can watch the game. You can say, "Oh yeah, that's a good run. He's having a good game." You do some box score scouting. It's good stats. But when you're able to put into, like the numbers, how good is he on a per snap basis? How good is he at, successful plays? Right. It really changes just how good he actually is. I mean, these are elite numbers. And he's doing it. And yeah, you can look and like, oh, he doesn't rank as high in carries or yardage or whatever. I mean, he's sharing carries with another very, very good running back. Most of these other guys that he's up here with it's them and someone else comes in for 2 plays when they need to go catch their breath. It's not they're splitting carries with another very good back.
Yeah, that's a really good point because we came in the year like, yes, Fluff is this great commit and guy that had a great, freshman season, but it was at South Alabama. We'll see like what happens. Now we were high on him. We thought he'd be really good.
How good does it feel to be so right about a player?
Right. Finally, we were so right on a player. And so that was kind of the thing. Like we knew he'd be really good, but we also knew Booth was really good just last season. And so we were kind of curious, like how they would balance and everything. And they have found a really good system. And the one thing we constantly said all summer was, hey, these guys, they complement each other really well.
Yeah, they really do. And with each having such unique running styles, like even if you don't see the number, within about 2 steps, you know exactly who has the ball. Right. It's immediate. And Fluff is a fun runner. He runs through people, over people. You don't ever see him going down backward. He's always going forward. He's fighting for every yard. He has a little, he's a little shifty. If you give him a little runway, he's not just going to make you miss in a phone booth, but he's got a little shiftiness to him, which all of a sudden makes, his injury that much more painful from, the perspective of wanting to watch him play, because he's having this great season and he's still he's a sophomore. He's still so young and he's having a great year. He can continue to develop, improve his vision, different little aspects of his game, and become just one of the, legitimately best running backs in college football.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy I like. Again, he's been really good. He's a guy that you need to pay to make sure you, because he's not going to be cheap. I mean, that's just facts. He's not going to be cheap. So you have to pay and make sure you keep him after this season, and there's no guarantee he stays in this transfer portal era. But with that being said, this is a guy that next year, I don't know many running backs that are going to be better than him. Just the route he's going right now,
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason why, again, you got to pay to keep these guys. But and so I'm glad you mentioned how young he is and that he can. There's still so much room to grow, which is the craziest part about it, But yeah, I'm curious to see his injury, how long he's going to be out. That's something we don't know yet. Levy said it wasn't season ending. They do expect him back this season. That is all incredible, great news to hear. But what we're waiting to hear is, does that mean he's back this upcoming week? Is that, and we'll obviously, once the availability report comes out, that's the information we'll start to figure out.
Yeah, we don't know. My guess, just based on injuries, probably closer to a month, but that's far from the end of the season. Right. So hopefully we do get him back sooner rather than later, both for the sake of the team, and you want, obviously, him to heal quickly, but you don't want him to rush it back and do something to damage his long-term health. And selfishly, I want to watch the man run again.
Yeah.
Guys who run like him are my favorite type of running back.
Yeah.
So I hope he does come back. I hope he stays in Starkville for, maybe just one more year, because he might go pro. You never know. I mean,
I would like him to stay for all 3 years. Because
I
got three because of the
too.
because of the new 5-year rule. He's got 3.
I would too, but I know how running backs are. That shelf life isn't super long usually in the NFL, so a lot of them try to get
there as quick as they
early,
can.
But no,
and I don't disagree with that.
That's
you got to go do that.
And he's having such a good season, and it sucks when something like that gets derailed by, honestly, a play he shouldn't have even been in the game for. But that's a whole other discussion. But hey, it's great that these other national, statistic outlets are starting to pick up on just how good this guy is. And, with this injury, it might be a while before everyone realizes how good he really is.
Yeah, because that's the thing. And we, you just talked about it. Booth is a very good running back. And the thing is, he's going to come in. Booth is going to come in and have to carry the load, assuming that Fluff isn't playing this week. And there will be a drop-off for sure because Fluff is that good. But on the flip side, it shouldn't be much of a drop-off because that's how good Booth is.
Yeah, you just kind of have to change some of the play calls a little bit, really. I think you go away from a little bit of the power, a little more to the outside. Probably see a little bit more Johnny Daniels coming in there. But otherwise, I mean, yeah. And I think this has also led to people starting to even underrate Booth some, just from you're not seeing him as much because of how good Fluff has been, that now we're kind of forgetting how good Booth was.
Right, and how versatile he can be, because he's going to add to the passing game as well. Yeah. I would assume you add him more into the passing game rotation than he has been up to this point in the season. I would assume that's what they'll end up doing.
You would think, hopefully, he only has to do it shoulder the whole load for a couple weeks before Fluff comes back and we get both of them back there. But hey, both of them are great. Fluff is having a great season, and now Booth has a chance to remind everyone just how good he is.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. But yeah, he's underrated right now. So hopefully he gets back soon.
Not by us, though.
Yeah, not by us. All right, coming up next, Mississippi State canceled a series that they had scheduled with a certain program. We're going to talk about why exactly that was and what their future schedule looks like. That's coming up next. Well, the holidays are going to be here before you know it, which is exciting, but getting your home ready for guests and celebrations can feel like a lot. Maybe your serveware needs a refresh or the guest room could use new bedding. Wayfair has everything you need to get your home holiday ready, from Christmas trees and wreaths to bedding, cookware, and outdoor inflatables. It's your one-stop shop for every room in the house. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every style and budget. And with free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff, you can get everything you need without the hassle of huge delivery fees. My favorite part about Wayfair, I know when I moved from Wichita Falls to where I'm at now, I used Wayfair to buy a lot of stuff. I came from a job that didn't pay me a ton, so I needed to find cheap options. And not only did I find cheap options, they were great options. I still have a lot of the stuff today, even though I'm now married and moved into my wife's house. But I bought a couch, I bought outdoor furniture, I bought a entertainment center for my wall. I mean, I bought so much stuff when I moved here that was necessary, because I came from apartments to renting a house, and I just needed a lot of stuff, and Wayfair had everything I needed. And I'm not a handyman. Well, wife would like me to be. I'm not as much. All the stuff is very easy to put together. It was really simple. So get organized, refreshed, and ready for the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. And the NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I know a lot of people that use FanDuel. They love it because it gives them so many ways to play. They've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. Makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So it was announced over the weekend that Mississippi State would be canceling its 2029 and 2030, I believe it was, or was it 2031? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was their series with Washington State that got canceled. That was a series that early on, Landon and I were kind of like, okay, you know, when the 9-game schedule was released, we were kind of going through and we are like, hey, is this a game that would be canceled?
Turns out, yeah.
Yeah, turns out, yeah. And it kind of sucked because this would have followed the rule of, at the time, it was Power 5.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have a Power 5 opponent, and Washington State would have fit that. Now it's Power 4 opponent, and obviously Washington State no longer fits that. So that's where it kind of sucks that they had to get rid of it. But it was something that was foreseen, at least.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get these kind of updates routinely going forward, with just how much movement there is, both inside of conferences from terms of rules, things changing, to still dealing with conference realignment. I mean, there's still so much happening, and that one does suck to cancel that one. I was kind of looking forward to it. That's one of those series. Washington State is always a fun team to play.
It seems was like 2030 and 2031.
Those are not real years. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Like, these are the 2030s. Right. It's not going to happen. It's just, it's one of those things right now. And with how much it's changing, that might be back on in a couple weeks. Probably not for those same years, but next year, maybe they're going to be signed on for 2033 and 2034. I mean, with just how things are moving, it's so crazy to try to keep track of things that far in advance.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, because when I first said 2029, I was like, wait, I wonder why they canceled this. But now I'm looking at their schedule, or when I said 29 and 31, I was looking at it and I was like, why did they cancel this? They already have their Power 4 opponent in 29, and they only have one opponent in 2031. It's the 2031. They wouldn't be able to do the return trip. Like the teams wouldn't be able to do the return trip, because in 2030 they have Tulane and at Southern Miss. So Washington State can't be the third one because they're not a Power 4 opponent, and it has to be a Power 4 opponent. And so because they can't do the return trip, I bet that's why it got canceled. Now, if Washington State became a Power 4 opponent, maybe that would get picked up, or maybe they look at it and say, hey, what if we did 31 and 32 or something? They obviously would have to look at Washington State's schedule as well to see if it makes sense. You can't just go off of your own schedule. But I bet that's why it was ultimately canceled. And that was something, we thought was a very real possibility. And It stinks, like you said, because Washington State's always been kind of a fun team, and it was kind of the Mike Leach game because he obviously came from Washington State, and that would have been a fun one. And it follows them playing Texas Tech, so
that's just unfortunate.
So yeah, that kind of adds to it being a bummer.
Yeah, it does. That would have been a fun little trilogy, 2-3 teams playing a couple different games to kind of honor, honestly, one of the best minds in football history.
Yeah,
we've had whole conversations about how much we love Mike Leach.
So, you're not going to find bigger Mike Leach fans than Landon and I. I mean, that's just going to be facts.
So that adds a whole other layer for why this does suck. But it's just we're in a weird situation. We're still kind of in the wild west of this new version of college sports. So, right. I mean, we're probably getting another announcement here soon that a different game's been canceled or these have been rescheduled or
right.
Washington State is now in the ACC for some reason, or, it's going to be something crazy is going to happen. And by that point, we might just have 2 conferences. Who knows what's happening in college football. So I understand why people, you have to plan out for these things. You have to plan 10 years in advance for how things are. But from a fan perspective, if you're like, who cares? I get it because everything's changing so fast. The schedule that's kind of halfway made for 3 years from now might have to be scrapped. So, right. I mean, it's just a crazy time right now in college football.
Well, there's going to be more that comes from this because 2026, they got 4 right now scheduled. And so, obviously, one of them has to go. Minnesota's the only one that's going to be safe because they're your Power 4 opponent. But ULM, Troy, or Tennessee Tech is going to have to go. And the bad thing about that is Tennessee Tech is probably the one that goes, but that's your November FCS game, so you don't really want that one.
Yeah, that's the one that's gone. That one's going to be hard to swing when you're playing 9 conference games.
Yeah, and then 27 and 28, you're set. You got your teams. 29, again, you got Tech, so you got your Power 4, and you got Memphis. That will be a fun year.
That will.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, right now outside Tech. They're scheduled with their Power 4 through 29, but they don't have any more Power 4s scheduled after that. So that's where they're going to have to start, figuring some stuff out for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to figure out. It'll be interesting to see how it kind of shakes out. Like you mentioned, there 1 year we have 1 extra game. Kind of hope they manage to keep Tennessee Tech, but
right.
I don't think that one's going to happen. You need that mini bye week late in the season.
Hey, I'm looking at it right now. They could have kept that 2031 game and put it in at 2029.
Yeah.
Now Washington State has Kansas State that year, so maybe they don't want 2 Power 4 opponents in there. Yeah, so maybe they don't want that, but that would have been a lot of fun. Yeah, all right, so we got to recap our national football games. We'll do that coming up next.
College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting those tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use GameTime, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you get. I pulled up some games in GameTime, and in just a few clicks, I saw amazing deals. I mean, college football games are as low as $25, but my favorite thing about GameTime is the ability to get your seat view on the app or on the website. You don't have to buy a ticket and wonder what your view is going to be when you get there. You know what it's going to be because of GameTime. And honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I bought tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download GameTime today.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so just kind of recapping some of the big national games. Start with our upsets. Texas over Oklahoma, 23-6. John Mateer did not look ready to play football. Did not look good at all. 3 interceptions for him. I was looking back, and I only went back to 2013. I was like, I'm not going to keep going back. But pretty much every team in this rivalry, every team that came into that game, either playing badly or coming off a horrible loss, won the game. Except for last year. Last year's like the only time it didn't happen. And so I wish I would have thrown that stat out when I gave the upset, because that actually would have made me feel more confident about the thing. But literally for over a decade, the team that comes in there not playing well has won that game, and in some cases won it pretty handily, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, Oklahoma's defense ultimately played pretty well. One of the touchdowns on the special teams, so allowed 16 points to Texas. You'll take that. But the offense was terrible, and really it's because their offense is John Mateer, and if John Mateer is not playing well, they don't have any other identity outside of that. And so if we did the quarterback power rankings this week, I had him near the top. He goes down. He's going to drop now. My kind of rule is, unless I've seen you play in the SEC for that team, I kind of start all the quarterbacks at the same level. And if you have a bad game, you drop. And then that kind of filters out a lot of them. And up to this point, he hadn't had a bad game. Well, now he's had a bad game. So he's going to go down it. But, yeah, what was your upset?
I went with North Texas over South Florida.
That's right.
At halftime, man, 28-28, it was looking pretty good. And then
that was shootout. In
the first, I think it was like 8-ish minutes of the third quarter, 35 points were scored, 28 of them by South Florida.
Yeah.
It got out of hand so fast. And I live in the Dallas area. I live up close to where UNT is. That place, like, it was packed. I'm talking like people were lining the streets for that game. They were excited, and they were all out of that stadium before the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Speaking of OU Texas, because that was Saturday, obviously, but a lot of people travel Friday. I wonder if traffic was terrible and didn't, because you had that game, and then you had traffic for OU Texas.
Also, every restaurant was packed by people wearing North Texas or OU stuff. It was insane.
I was thinking about that Friday night. I was like, North Texas might not have thought this one through when they.
That's why they played on Friday, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, probably so. Some of the other one of the ones that really shocked me was Indiana might be for real. I mean, they are for real. We might not say Miami anymore, or it might be anymore. They are for real, because they whooped Oregon. Now I know it was 30-20, but if you watch that game, Indiana was the better team, and that was on the road. And I wrote a story about this. I believe it was since 2018 Oregon was 41-1 at home, so they were almost unbeatable at home. I think the one might have been when Washington beat them that year they went to the championship. But yeah, I mean, and then Indiana just goes in there and beats them 30-20. They're the real deal. Like, this isn't last year's Indiana. No. This is a real team.
They are very good, and their win is a big win for the Stars Don't Matter people. Like, I think they have, was it 4 stars, no 5 stars, and the rest are 3 or lower, and they are just out here taking it to everybody. I mean, they're doing it. He's built a great program very quickly there.
2 years. It's unprecedented. I've seen some people upset. I have some friends that are fans of different teams that are upset that their coach has been there 3 or 4 years. Why aren't they doing what he's doing? And my response is, no one is doing what he's doing. Not at Indiana. I mean, someone might go and do something like I remember in the 70s, Barry Switzer took over Oklahoma in like 73 and then won 2 national championships in 74 and 75. But that's Oklahoma. No one is doing that at Indiana.
In a very different era.
No one. Very different era as well. But no one's doing that at Indiana. And so someone argued, is he the best coach in college football? I think you need to at least win, but he's in the conversation. I think until because Kirby's got 2 and 2 recent ones, so I would still put Kirby 1. But if he goes this year and they go to the national championship or even the semifinal and they're beating people with less talent, with the less talent that they have, I mean, he's definitely top 3 right now. I think then you could argue it, because he's been incredible.
Yeah, he's definitely in that conversation. And the person who is not in that conversation is James Franklin.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. 3 straight losses.
The fall of Penn State has to be studied.
I do. I'm curious about this, and I want to get your opinion on it, because they obviously have had 3 straight double-digit win seasons. They went to the playoff for the first time last year. They made it to the semifinal, and it was a last-second field goal that they lost on. So they were very close to the national championship. They start this year number 2. Obviously, have all those expectations. They start 3-0. They don't play anyone. They start 3-0. They lose 3 straight. Do you think you fire a coach like that? And first off, I will say I agree with the fact that, maybe you're just like, man, the one thing we had with James Franklin was he wasn't losing to teams that he shouldn't lose to. And now he is, on top of not winning the big game. Because that's fair. That's a fair argument. But the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
I mean, I get why they pulled the trigger on it now, because there's been so many years where it's like, this is finally the year Penn State gets over the hump, and they don't. And this should have been that year. They brought back, the majority of their team, spent big in the transfer portal, took Jim Knowles away from Ohio State, I think for like $6 million or something like that, revamped the offense. They were supposed to go out there, and then this happens. I mean, there was already conversations, if you looked up anything Penn State fans were talking about firing him before this season. So I mean
the fans were chanting fire him when they were losing to Oregon. And that's another thing. 17 days ago, they're beating Oregon in overtime. 17 days later, he's fired.
It's insane how quickly that turned on him.
15 days later, he's fired. Yeah, like that. That's college football. And then I don't know if it's true, but I saw the report out there. I believe it was someone that covers Penn State that said Adidas had something to do with it, that they had already been kind of on the board of letting him go, and no one else was. But now this 3 losses has let them put a little more pressure on him. And so, I mean, money talks. So it wouldn't surprise me if that is accurate. I'm not sure if it is, but yeah, I mean, like you said, that fall's got to be studied, because that's insane. Other than that, Auburn might have got screwed again, maybe. Yeah. You're going up 17. Well, that, but I'm talking about the fumble where you're going up 17-0. I still think it's in. I do see some people say, hey, maybe it's moving right before. But you're going up 17-0, and that's you probably win that game. But you fumble, and then they go down and get a field goal right before half to get momentum, and then it breaks loose in the second half. But then, yes, he's definitely signaling timeout.
He's going timeout.
And then he said, no, I was clapping. You don't run to an official clapping. Like, you don't do that.
And don't go clapping going, timeout.
Right. So
the fact that worked is insane.
Yeah. Poor Auburn. They've had some
bad luck here for Auburn.
They've had some bad luck. All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy breaks down the best conference in college sports, from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On SEC on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, well, thanks for watching. I'm Jaron. Check out my work over in Athlon Sports. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We post daily videos Monday through Friday, so check those out. We're back with our pre- and post-game videos as well for Saturday, and the rest of the week we'll be talking all about the Florida game coming up, so don't miss that. But yeah, until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.